Another wasted afternoon, spending on my own with the TV and the phone. Another wasted part of life that I will not remember when I'm dead and gone.
Hey guys, you're watching the channel that nobody watches, James B. Carter, and unfortunately for you, I am your host, James B. Carter, and it is time for another drawing video. And who I'm drawing here is Mackenzie Davis. She's known for her role in *Halt and Catch Fire*, and she's in the recent Blade Runner movie, Blade Runner 2049, and she's in the movie *That Awkward Moment*. A lot of people aren't super familiar with her, but she's a good actress. So I thought I would draw her, and here I am starting off with the pencils. I did have a reference. I was looking at the computer, so if you see me turning my head every now and then, I did have a picture pulled up. People who say they don't use any reference whatsoever and they completely draw from their imagination are complete liars. I remember in school, people used to say, well, you know, if you look at a picture, that's cheating. That's not true. There's no way you could draw another human being from memory. Even Leonardo da Vinci or even Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't think could. See, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's an actor. He's not really an artist. He did play an artist in Titanic. So what I'm doing here is I'm laying down the basic pencils. I'm using a .05 lead mechanical pencil, and I'm drawing on a Canson watercolor paper. It's sort of like a board, not quite as thick as a board. It's 9 by 12, 9 by 11, something like that. Now I'm taping it down. Oh, I had a sip of Coca-Cola too. I'm taping it down that way when I go over it with paint, it will become stiff. And it won't get all bendy and out of shape and weirdly proportioned. Because when you get the paper wet, trust me, the paper will bend unless it is taped down. My advice to you is to just barely tape down the edges. That way, if any of the paper rips, you really won't damage the paper, and you can just cut off the edge if you have to. I'm sort of going over the whole thing with an olive green. That's my foundation color. I know it's probably scary if you guys are just starting off, if you're painting along with me, to just completely cover in watercolor what you've just drawn. You got to be careful. You don't want to lay it on too thick because you have to see the pencil lines underneath. If you like go too dark and cover up the pencil lines, you're screwed. Drawing over. Okay, now I'm going on top of it with marker, which is a technique that I always use. I believe that's a 03 marker. I really can't use microns. I get these markers at Target, and they work really good for drawing on top of watercolors. It's really the only marker, that and Faber-Castell are the only two markers I've ever discovered that work well on top of watercolor. But as long as you have the initial layout, you're fine. I wouldn't get too finicky with my pencil layout because you can always fix it in post. When I mean post is when you're rendering it. You can knock a lot of stuff out with whites and different highlights and stuff like that. So make sure you don't draw in your highlights physically. If you're going to do something with color, like watercolor, add that in later with paints, different layers and stuff like that. Or you could get like a sort of a bony 5 o'clock shadow woman, and we don't want that. This isn't the best angle. This angle looks kind of like Veronica Lake. basically what I'm doing now is I'm just going in and I'm tracing over the pencils that I've laid down, making it darker that way I can see what I've done. If you guys want to join me on Patreon, there's a link down below. You can either chip in $1 a month or $5 a month, or you can pick up my art on eBay. There'll be a link for this exact piece on eBay if you want to check out my stuff. And please hit subscribe, and go ahead and hit that like button too while you're at it. So now I'm adding color. And if I remember correctly, I added three different colors of, three different hues of yellow. I used to be mainly, I used to just do illustration. Then I got involved in oils, and I realized how much I hated oils because it took forever to dry. I did this piece like an hour and 10 minutes maybe. I was on the phone for a little while, so kind of got interrupted. But yeah, I think it was like an hour and 10. If I can't do it in 2 hours, I don't want to do it. It's how I am. And maybe my art suffers for it, or maybe not. Maybe it gives it sort of like a unique look. I think sometimes drawings can be too polished. The style I'm going here is sort of what is called a pop art style. Starting off as a comic book fan, I acquired the comic book curse, and I've never been able to shake it. Everything that I do ends up looking a little bit like a panel from a comic book. But, it could be worse. Now I'm going on top of the blonde with some white highlights. And it's okay, you can sort of get messy if you have to, because we're going to go on top of the paint again with the Faber-Castell brush. I want to thank everybody who joined me. And hey, listen, if you guys want a commission, go ahead and drop me a line or put in the comments, hey, I'd like a commission. I only charge $30 and I'll draw anything you want. You just have to send me a photo reference. And bam, we're in business. I take PayPal. But I haven't seen the new episodes of the new season of *Halt and Catch Fire*. I'm behind. Can't believe it. I love that show. I pretty much love any show that takes place in the 1980s. Later on, when you see me pull up the tape, you'll realize that it was really a pretty good idea because it keeps this piece of paper stiff as a board. Otherwise, it would be rolling up and curling up and all that stuff. And it can morph your drawing into a way that really isn't all that aesthetically pleasing. I decided not to go too dark on the lips. I have some really heavy lights on my piece, but when I come in close for the close-up, you can see things a little bit more in a greater detail. I've actually sold a lot this month. Let's see, I've sold a couple of It's. I sold a Fruza Bulk. I sold, gosh, what else did I sell? Sold a Betty Page. I can't remember all the stuff that I've sold. I sold a Ric Flair. So right now I'm going on top with my Faber-Castell brush. These things are, that's my favorite tool. The Faber-Castell. I just wish they lasted longer. They're $4 a pop, and I can usually get them to last for about 3 or 4 paintings. And even they have their limit because, I abuse the shit out of those things. If you used them just on paper, just on marker paper, I think they would last forever. But I'm using Faber-Castell on top of paints, not only watercolor, but acrylic and sometimes gouache. So I really send those things to the ringer. I don't know where I'm at. I might have got up and up, decided to use the bathroom here. I thought I edited this part out, but I didn't. So I'm just going to sit and talk for a while. Usually after, now here, I'm back. I'm picking up my camera. Oh, I know what I've done. I changed the speed. See, there you go, look. Now you get a nice shot. It looked kind of weird at an angle, but this is a straight on shot. And I really know the lips really, not the, I usually hate my own work, but I think the lips came out pretty good by not going too dark. In the photo reference, she has like really bright pink lipstick on. But I thought it would just pop too much. You can see the speckles I use. And I use the speckles. I don't know, I think it just adds something. And I usually dip a toothbrush in water, an old toothbrush. And I scrub it around the watercolors, and then I just flip it. And wherever it goes, it goes. Wherever it lands, it lands. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this piece. Like I said, if you guys want to get a commission off me, just go ahead and leave a comment under the video. $30, anything you want. Watercolor, just like this. I like doing movie type stuff, but I'll do pet portraits too. This is Mackenzie Davis, like I said, from Halt and Catch Fire. I also do horror videos, so you might want to check those out. Right now I'm doing the random 31 days of Halloween. But I have art videos, I do play-by-play wrestling events, UFC events, boxing events. I'm all over the place, man. I am all over the place. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to say for the next 4 minutes, because that's how much longer this thing lasts. And I did not fart, that's my chair. So like I said, this is going to be available on eBay. By the time you see this video, it will be up and for sale. I think I'm going to probably start it off at $5, maybe $10. So very reasonable. And if you like movie reviews, especially horror movie reviews, check out my channel. Please make sure you subscribe. I don't know if you know this, but I'm trying to make my own quarter pounder. That's why I need you to subscribe. And if you get, I think if you get 1,000 subscribers, they actually give you all the ingredients you need to make your own quarter pounder. And that's what I'm trying to do. In my opinion, you're not much of a man if you can't make your own quarter pounder. That's what I aspire. Forget art, forget making movies or music or whatever. It's all about making your own quarter pounder. There's my signature. Some people hate it, but I've been doing it that way forever. That's James B. Carter's seal of approval. If you hear that noise in the back, I'm not having an earthquake. There's no earthquake going on. It's the washing machine. And it's not on gentle. It's on violent. That washing machine is determined to hurt somebody. That's okay. Hey, that washing machine was a wedding gift from my mom and stepdad, so we love that thing. If I was critiquing my own work here, I would say not so many lines in the hair, even on blondes. on large panels like this, you might want to go with a few less lines. But for the most part, I like the way it turned out. So I'm going to start winding this video down. We have under a minute to go. So I would like to thank you guys for watching the channel that nobody watches, James B. Carter. And I was your host, unfortunately for you, James B. Carter. And until next time, keep on clicking. Don't forget to subscribe. Join me on Patreon and get a commission from me if you want. Hit that like button.